Hello everybody, welcome back to the RV Solar channel. We've got another Dutch Star in the shop, taking a little inspiration from the previous one, but doing a lot of things different. It's going to be 24 volts, 600 amp hours, 24 volt batteries, 2 Multiplus inverters, a whole bunch of chargers, a lot of interesting stuff that we've not done before, so you definitely want to stick around, watch all of it, check it out. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we already have planned, and yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Glad to have you along. First, let's get it started right. Dog alert. Dog alert. Look at Hey, Mr. Bear. As everybody knows, or some people knows, this is a Bear. He's our 1-year-old, almost one. And this is Bernie's mountain dog, and this is Zuki, golden. Ah, ow, ouch, that's my thumb. And this is Zuki here. He's a neighbor dog. He comes over almost every day for doggy daycare. And he is all about that ball life. So we're going to go and give him something to do. There he goes. Bear he doesn't have it in him. I can't say we'll necessarily do this all the time, but one thing that's unique about this is the customer is helping out, pretty much being an honorary member of the Soda Solar team this week. So we are great to have him along. And let's see what some of the work that he's already taken care of for us. And that makes me really excited. All right, let's go inside here real quick. All right, so, let's see, what did he do here? I already pulled through a pull line to pull HDMI, because we're going to try and mount the screen over here. So HDMI from there all the way over to here. And as you can see, he's already removed the fridge. Oh my. And I think they're going to be putting in a residential. Great time to do it. So we're on the fence still about whether we're going to be using the fridge vent, and he's going to remove that to get even more room for more solar. Or we're going to use that to pull solar lines down. Or it sounds like there's a vent back here underneath the shower. On the fence, not quite sure. That's part of this. So, but yeah, he's got, where does it run? Here it is. And he already ran it through there, and he said he used these giant things, and he made these like super giant fish sticks, and used this to kind of, every time he get hung up on something, he just rotated it a little bit. I should probably have him explain it. If you got questions on any of that specific stuff, definitely leave them in the comments down below. I'm sure this customer would be watching and maybe answer some of those questions for you. I got to be honest, originally I didn't even know that it was possible to make that run. It's kind of one of those things when it's yours, you can do different things than what you would do if it was a customer's. I have to be a little bit more conservative on what I do, because if I break it, I bought it. But when it's your own, you already bought it. So we're just test fitting a couple of things here, and I think we're going to put all the equipment on this wall. And we're going to make a custom board like usual to go in here and, yeah, go up against the wall. 2 inverters here, and then all the other stuff in the back. Try and keep it as accessible as possible. It's one of our mantras here. And then I think for here, we're going to do stadium battery seating again. We've done that before. Maybe I'll insert a clip of that right now. If anyone's curious, this is probably pretty darn close to the best way to run a 8 24 volt batteries in parallel. So that's how that might end up looking, except different, of course. So yeah. What? Oh my gosh. See, he sits there and I want the ball. No. He just likes to show you stuff. Oh, he's a goof. One of the other big tasks we got to do is we have to run 2 sets of 6'3", 6'4", to where, depending on how you want to think about it, wire from there all the way over to here. And we're also doing DC-DC charging on this one because it's a 24 volt system. It's a little trickier. Let's take a look at all the equipment here. Rick's taking a break. I've been working him hard. So, and our friend Dave, he's been helping out too. Actually, him and Rick were doing a lot of the heavy lifting on this. I just kind of came in here and, I don't know, pretending like I knew what I was doing. Okay, so yeah, here's 2 inverters. We've got trying to leave room for raceway whenever we can. And we're gonna come here, and here's where that beam might be. And I'm trying to leave room for the AC lines to come in here and then down. I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm gonna handle the AC distribution. I've done that before in something I call a dinkle box. But we'll see. I know it's a weird term, but it's just kind of what I made up. Because all the products are Dinkle is the brand. Anyway, multiple links distributors this time around. We've done plenty where we only do one set, but because we've got this guy, I really think it makes sense to go to 2. I really do. Although, let me do some more math in here. Yeah, I'm at 5. Or how many devices we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 devices. So that means we're going to use 6 of our possible 8 inputs, outputs. It means the customer also has room for, let's say they want to do some ground deploy panels. We can do that. And then instead of doing the shunt, we're going to be doing the links shunt here. And like usual, we'll probably be doing everything upside down. And we do have to do a little modification in the links shunt to do that upside down, if I recall. Or no, not upside down. It's when you want to use, if you want to reverse it, you have to reverse the wires inside, the sense wires. Other than that, no, I don't think we got to touch that. Okay, I think we're in good shape. Then on the battery side, we're going to be using the Lynx power in to balance all of our power in lines. And got our big old Daihool breaker, 400 amp. The reason why we're doing 400 is because even though it's a 24 volt system, each of these inverters can take up to 200 amps of current. They could potentially draw that, so we need to plan for that. So we're protecting at 400 amps, and we size our wires for our fuse protection or our circuit protection, and that means 4-aught coming out of here, 2-aught going into our battery connections. We'll see how it goes. Little bear, you're so tired. Let's talk about the solar for a moment too. Let's go pop up there and show you what we're thinking. So we're thinking about actually doing unistrut on each side here, and then attaching the solar panels to the unistrut. That way we can adjust them out a little bit further. And who knows, maybe that's more things to come, things we might do more often. I love unistrut. You're using it for a long time. And we'll see how that goes. Plan is to get 2,400 watts up here. That's our thought. And I think the customer is going to then figure out a way to tilt them a little bit. I'm a little nervous myself to do too much of the tilt engineering, especially on doing multiple panels. I'm fine with the tilt kits, but those are a real pain in the butt to work with, to be honest. So the customer is thinking about engineering something, and we'll see what that turns into. I don't know if that's going to be in this video, but when the solution is invented, developed, implemented, that's the right word, we'll definitely share that solution, and maybe we'll do a full-on video update. So, all right, that's about all I got. I got a couple of things I got to get to keep this project moving, so I'm going to go do that. Ugh. You know, it's almost getting warm enough where I am really regretting not pulling down that part of the shop still. There's a loft back there that's preventing us from getting this size of an RV in, but just been so darn busy I haven't been able to do it. So there's a saying, here's one of those life lessons. You never change unless the pain of not changing is greater than the pain of change. Or what, did I say that right? I may have said that right. It might be opposite too. We did battle on this thing today. And take a look at Rick here. He's dirty. This Newmar kicked our butt, but we're not giving up. It took us about 3 times to try and run the AC lines, the 6.3, and some power lines for alternator charging. And Rick did a lot of good work in there. He got it done. So that's gonna probably wrap it up for today, but we're gonna be at it tomorrow. Keep moving on it. We got a plan. I would say this is the hardest part. Running these lines, especially on the Class A's, this can be the hardest part of this. Sometimes it's easier or not as hard. Let's put it that way. Sometimes it's not as hard, sometimes it's really hard. Today it was really hard. So, see you tomorrow. All right, welcome back. It's been a couple of days. We've been hard at work. We've been working on the board there and a battery stadium seating thing. And hey Zuki. Oh, I'm falling over. Oh, not as skinny as I used to be. Hey Zuki, he wants to say hi. How you doing, bud? All right. Want to share what we've been doing here, maybe some tips and tricks, other valuable information, or maybe invaluable, depends on your opinion. Here is the board. I know we got a couple of things on here, but we've got it all wired up. These are in, we got two Multiplus 24 volt 2x120 inverters in parallel. And something I want to talk about here real quick is I believe Victron came out with a hardware revision, and it freaked me out at first when I saw this current sense loop here. And actually this is a really good improvement. Here's how they typically worked. And what would happen sometimes is the pins in there, because that's like that old headphone jack style thing. And what would happen from time to time is your AC current sense would be off. You'd be running loads inside your RV and it wouldn't show up anything on the Serbo GX display. Well, because the current sense is internally shorted somehow, and don't worry, it's not a big deal. If you run across this, all you gotta do is, well, take something small, well, maybe smaller than that even, but you take something small and you put it in there, wiggle it around a little bit, ideally non-conductive, not a screwdriver maybe, toothpick, something like that, and that usually clears it up. But this, no, that's not even an issue. Good going, Victron. And they do work. These are obviously different hardware revisions. They synced up in parallel just fine. Oh, and the other reason why I know this is a very new revision, it did not require a firmware update. It came with firmware 5.10. Crazy. Okay, where else are we going here? We got the giant Lynx monolith here. We're using 6 of the inputs of the 8 total. And I ended up not using this one here because, as you can tell, it's quite the traffic jam. We are about full on our raceway. I'm actually thinking about doing 4-inch raceway, trying to find some of that. I've heard that it is available. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is our AC paralleling box here that we kind of come up with. We've done a different one before, but we kind of came upon this via happy accident, I'll call it. So this is a typical 6-way solar box from, does it have a brand name? Executive Standard. I don't know, it's the ones we always order. And what I liked about it is it already had the grounding buses on there, so I didn't have to worry about those. And then we could just do 3 of these, and of course I labeled these. And what I like to do when I'm making these connections is to, I like to use an impact on them and then wiggle the wires around and actually even let them sit for a while and then do it again. Because the copper kind of reforms, or the strands rearrange themselves and the stresses are released. So you got to go at it again. I would say tighten these 2 to 3 times because you don't want them to back out. And then what will happen is the AC output and input, just one set of wires will go into each of these blocks. And that's coming to and from the, let's see, AC input would come from the transfer switch, AC output to your main panel. And then the RV over there, as far as it's concerned, it's always on shore power. And we are doing a DC-DC charger here on 15 amp, 12 to 24, because again, this is a 24 volt system. Got our 2 solar chargers there, and those will actually support well into anywhere from, I would say 1600 watts per charger at 24 volts. So up to 3,200 watts total if somebody so wanted. They'd be cooking. I mean, that would be at their maximum, I would say. But that's the beauty of 24 volts. One of those chargers can handle the same amount of panels as a 100 amp charger on 24 volts. Geez, 12 volts. I can't speak. I got our step down converter, Serbo, all that stuff. Not a whole lot interesting there. that I'm seeing. If you got questions, ask them down below. Love to hear. There's something I was going to talk about here. Oh, a couple of things. One, so I'm putting the sub-assembly here for the links power in and the Dihul breaker, and we use a double pole on the 24 volt systems. All the experts seem to agree that's a good idea to do. But the other thing I do is on these bigger, where there's a lot of surface area, of course, we're always surface prepping these. And I'll show you an example of, here's one that I prepped a little bit. See, that surface is not perfect. Well, it's more perfect now. Well, let me show you again. All right, randomized trial. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay. I have no idea if this is going to be good or bad. All right. Just took the file to this real quick, and you can see all that. Basically, everywhere it is shiny is where it would have touched. And this isn't horrible, actually. But that's certainly not the complete surface area, this lug. And we want to make sure that there's as much contact area with this as possible because, oh, I'll pick it up later. Because it very well could be pushing 400 amps through this, and we want these connections to stay cool. So, just food for thought there. Oh, and the other thing is, try and make sub-assemblies. If you're doing this yourself, sub-assemblies. Rather than hooking this on and then putting that on and then trying to measure your wire. No, just put it all together and then put the screws in. In all of our physical designs on stuff, like where it, that sort of stuff, or really whatever, I try and allow for just a little bit of adjustment. I'd be wary of trying to get perfect wire lengths. Always go a little bit longer. Maybe it's just a ½ inch, quarter inch even. But if you're going for perfection, I don't have a wire stretcher yet. So if you do, let me know. I might want one. Now, someone's been making a racket up there. Rick, our customer, he's been hard at work, doing a lot of the hard work, I tell you what. He's been out there in the sun the last couple days. And we'll go up there in a minute, but we had something crazy happen here. We just had the craziest gust of wind, and it blew this entire panel off, and it crunched it. This is when it landed. We just had it up there just sitting flat, and somehow the wind picked it up. I've never had that happen before. I have set panels on roofs plenty of times just waiting to get installed and never had it get lifted up, but it is what it is. But don't worry, we are going to test this. I want to see, is that amount of damage? What does that actually mean? Whoa, it's getting windy. Getting windy again. So we're doing the unistrut here. So we're trying to hit all the main cross braces here with the unistrut rail. And part of the reason for the unistrut rail is to be able to shift the panels out just a little bit. So we're a little bit further away from the air conditioners. Maybe this is something we're going to do more in the future. I don't know. Now, some people say you should let sleeping dogs lie. And this little boy, he used to be sleeping, but he's not anymore. Once again, we are not just a solar channel, we're a dog channel too. But what I was thinking about here as I was wiring up these batteries is you should let your batteries sleep too. And the reason for that is there's no risk of a dead short or, crazy fireworks happening. So my advice is let your batteries sleep until you're ready to turn them on. If nobody knows what sleeping batteries are, typically when they come shipped from the manufacturer, they are asleep, which means the BMS inside has turned them off. They will wake up when you feed them a voltage, usually over 14 volts, and then they wake up. There he is, laying down on the job. But then again, so am I. But still on the job. So we got this whole board that we were working on. We got it in here. Can you believe it? Rick and I barely can. Oh my, did we fight with that. We ended up having to ratchet strap it in. You can tell where it pushed against his bottom part of the carpet there. Woo! But, and then of course, we're using all Dave's measurements. His came out great. So that is looking good. So anyway, I'm hooking up the AC lines and the main DC lines here. Once I do that, I can, for the most part, button this up. And the only things we have left, the main DC connections there, and the battery's going to go right about where I'm at. So yeah, take care of that, I guess. Oh, we do have solar lines to run in here yet as well, so I should probably get that done. So let's also talk about how the solar and HDMI lines are run. We got solar coming down here and the HDMI coming up or coming down, depending on how you want to think about it. Solar's coming down here into the main bay, making it up to the board. HDMI is coming from the board up here, and we're actually using a 50-foot extension, two 25s put together, and it's working. So it comes up here. Pulled through that string. Customer ran that for us. Great job, Rick. And here it is hooked up to the display. That's running good. The other thing I want to mention is when you're running a 7-inch display like this and on a long HDMI run like this, I'd really recommend using an external USB power source for the display. The display's signal and touch signal happen all over HDMI. The USB plug on the display is only for power, so you can grab that from anywhere. In this case, we used this little power adapter and found a 12-volt supply on the board, and then here we are. I might not be on top of the world, but I feel like it when we're finishing up a solar install here. Here it is, last day. We're just going to go over the finished product. There's a couple of things I want to talk about on the roof here before we get down below. So let's get to it. All right, so I'm just putting on the some of the end clamps here for the rail system, and a couple of things I want to talk about. So anybody who's paying attention would probably know the mid clamps here we're not quite using them I would call it the correct way, but is what it is. We had to use it this way to make it fit on the rail. It was just the way it was going to have to go. I use something similar on my bus. It's been on there for 3, 4, 5 years now. No issues. Just do check the torque on these once in a while. I would recommend that. The real reason I wanted to come up here, it's about 5 o'clock today on a Friday, so we're almost done. But check out that shadow on that air conditioner here, and what this customer was able to achieve by using the rail system and going out. And I tell you the truth, we could probably use this with brackets as well. We would just have to do brackets on the ends, not on the sides. So maybe that's something we're going to consider. But what we've done is moved the shadow area, or where the shadow effectiveness area, whatever we'd call that, we've moved that out. So we're in better shape there. That's the big thing I want to talk about here. I got a couple more end clamps to put on, but I just saw that and said, hey, I bet some people would probably want to know about that. And as far as why is a panel missing there, this is going to require a little bit more engineering, and the customer is pretty local, so I think he's going to do some work to figure out a way to get that to work up here, and both of us appear to be okay with that. So this is probably how it's going to make the journey home, and then he's going to spend some time and do that right. And I would say here's a life lesson right here. Take the time to do things right. As best you can, try not to work rushed. Generally, nothing good ever comes from being rushed, and I would say this project is no exception. We've definitely taken our time to try and do things as best as we can. Obviously, you could spend weeks, maybe even months on something like this, agonizing over every decision. There's a pragmatic side of it, of course, but we've tried to err on the side of doing it right whenever possible. And this is how everything in the storage bay ended up. Got all our covers on, and everything's nice and neat. It's definitely tight in here. Multiple ways to skin this cat. Not that I'm into skinning cats at all. I think this came out great. And we've probably even got room to put a couple more batteries in here if the customer so desired. I would not recommend putting them here. We do want to keep some level of access here in case we need to adjust anything. But customer is very DIY. What am I trying to say? He's comfortable with doing stuff. So for a lot of this, we kind of got it 90, 95%, and we're gonna let the customer take their time and kind of position things exactly where they want it. All right, we're wrapping things up here. One of the other things I want to talk about real quick was how you handle both the AC and the DC connections. And what we ended up doing here was these greasy wires that, remember, Rick pulled earlier in the week. We connected those to just the main positive and negative, and those are actually running into the 12 volt system on that board, which includes oddly enough, both the converter, the 24 to 12 converter and the 12 to 24 converter, and it works with the right voltage adjustment on both. So maybe I can get into that later, but didn't want to get too sidetracked. Anyway, how we connect things. So this is the transfer switch here. This is the main connection we just made. This comes from our cable coming from there, and then we took what used to come out of there and we ran that into this box here. And then we, in this case, rather than using another one of those kind of deals, although we basically use those aluminum splices, sometimes we just use those, just bare, and we put them in the box covered in heat shrink, and then ran it up and out to the main panel that goes up there. And then the customer also has a buddy plug here, so they got a 50 amp connection right there that they can plug their house into. So if they have a power outage, this whole rig can power their house. How cool is that? Now lastly here, we just put the sticker on, and the customer requested, of course, we have some lights going on in here, so we do. So at night, this is gonna look amazing. Maybe I'll try and end with some of that footage. But boy, I would say at this point, we are pretty much wrapped up here. You can see the long line of Lynx devices there, all our breakers, everything else up there is looking great. This is kind of how that looked up there. Trying to show you. Of course, the batteries here again. That worked out great. I really like this stadium setup. That's what I'm calling it. Stadium seating for batteries. It works. And, you know, I mean, as far as space goes, I still like these over the server racks for the 24. For the 48s, I think the server racks might be better. Got our sticker on there. We're good to go. And don't worry if sometimes I don't put the sticker on. I almost always include a sticker in the box that I give them with all the fuses and all that kind of stuff when we're done. So that's how that's coming together. They're pretty much done, not come together. Oh, this too. Customer asked an end cover to be put on there, so I did that. That worked pretty well. And of course, it's almost the weekend. It's Friday evening here now, and we are cooking up some more pork shoulder here. My oldest is graduating. Some personal news there, so we've got a grad party this weekend, so I'm smoking up some meat in preparation for that. But enough about that. Let's talk about you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around, commenting, thumbs up, all that stuff. If you want help with your RV solar needs, don't check us out here. Usually I have a Soda Solar shirt on if you're new to the channel. But if you want to have a washed up adult hockey goalie, this is Zephyr's Hockey Club that I'm a proud member of. If you want a washed up adult hockey goalie to install your solar system for you, check us out at sotasolar.com. That's Sota with an O, like Minnesota. That's where I'm from, if you can't tell. So, you guys are great. All right, catch you next time. Bye.